Okay, we are recording. So, how are you today, mate?
I'm all right. I just got up.
Just got up,
Just got up.
sparking a fag to start the day. Lovely
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. My light's not working. Oh, yeah.
Where's home today, mate? Where are you?
Penge.
Nice, nice. How long you been now?
How long have I been here? About a week now. It's back where I'm from. So I'm
Yeah.
for a week chilling out.
Oh, nice. Well, we'll talk about where you're from and growing up and stuff as we work our way through the chat. I'm going to ask you first to tell me the song. I'm going to kick off your playlist. I'm going to ask you to tell me the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Well, I didn't really think about this one properly. I think
Okay.
if I'd really thought about it, I would have chosen something else.
Okay.
I was just trying to think of like good intros, and the first one that came into my head was TNT by AC/DC,
Mm.
just because they're going oi, oi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think I've never heard anything more Australian in my life.
Yeah. It's about as Australian as it gets, ACDC, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about because I guess when I talk to uh various guests on that have been on the show, some may be making, I guess, more commercial music. Their approach to songwriting and intros has changed due to kind of the way that a lot of people are getting their music and streaming services and things like TikTok, which is catering for kind of shortening attention spans. I'm
Right.
just interested in how you approach songwriting and the
Slowly.
emphasis that you put on on an intro.
Um, I always try and cut the intro out. I get bored very quickly, so I just actually always just string them out for ages. I don't really know. I don't have. I don't really have a method of working that I can recall. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, knowing what you've created over the years, I was really intrigued to know how you approach that and if there is any kind of formula or is it just kind of each one is as it
I mean,
is.
the only formula that I use and I reapply is stealing other people's songs,
That's always a good start, mate.
and that's never let me down.
That'll get you out of trouble every time.
I recommend it to everyone.
Was I mean to look back at like the metros and stuff? Was there more kind of pressure from a label to kind of create something shorter, sharper, sweeter then?
Yeah, definitely was. I mean, we were on a major label.
Mm,
It was a bit absurd back then. We had like a press team giving teaching us how to do interviews and things like that. It was
yeah.
weird. Um, and there was more pressure to kind of make things like that for sure. Yeah.
How did that sit with you?
At the time, I didn't. I thought great. I just wanted to be famous. I think when I was a kid,
Mm,
and uh, and then it sat uncomfortably within me
yeah.
ever since.
Was that a kind of pretty quick process as soon as the sort of, I guess, the machine started
I mean,
turning?
we wrote all the songs. We wrote a bunch of songs about being school kids when we were 14, 15. And then by the time they came out, we were 18, 19, singing about doing homework. And it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Um, I can't remember what the question was.
No, no, I was just wondering how quickly it was when the when the metro started sort of happening, like how quickly the kind of the constraints with him being signed to a major started to kind of take
Oh,
effect, where it just
basically, as soon as our album came out and we didn't sell any records, we felt the constraints quite heavily. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that'll happen, won't it? All right, well, look, I'm going to ask you for your second track, mate, to tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Right. So this is a song that my mum used to have on a cassette tape. And I was thinking about this last night. And basically, my mum used to have these cassettes that we'd put on, and me and my brother would have a dance for every song that we would perform to my mum. And she encouraged us to make our own cassettes and things like that. So really, I was thinking I've been making records since I was a baby, and this is one of the first tracks that I ever really can remember hearing and dancing to. It's a bit kind of weird song.
Yeah, Yeah. But like, I mean, tell us a little bit about home then, like, and how much of a sort of was it a musical environment?
In that sense, in that way, it was. I mean, there's no musicians in my direct family or anything like that, and no, being a musician wasn't even something to be. It was a bit scorned
Mm.
in my family. They kind of looked down on musicians.
Yeah.
um, so no, it wasn't a musical household, but my parents like a drink and a party, and there was a lot of kind of revelry going on, and
Yeah.
a lot of singing, drunken singing with my grandma and stuff like that.
It, you know, when you said that was the first song that kind of hit you emotionally, if you had to pinpoint what that emotion was, Saul, what do you think it was?
Well, no, that's interesting. I don't really know because it's just excitement, I suppose. Like there was a kind of madness to this song, and contained within the lyrics of the song was a whole universe, a whole world, and a really obscure world that even as a kid completely electrified me, and
Yeah.
still does to this day. You know, and still does now. I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, you just spoke there about writing songs about homework and such. So I'm going to use that as a tenuous link to the next track. And if you can tell me the song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
This is "What Do I Get" by the Buzzcocks, and what do you want to do? You want to hear some reminiscences of this song?
Oh, I mean, firstly, it's a fucking great record.
It is. Well,
Uh,
I got singles going steady as a birthday present, which was all the Buzzcocks singles, and that was really what set me off
yeah.
my school days. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty strange music for a young kid to get bought. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
probably, most other kids are probably getting busted records and things like that. And to get like, you know, a greatest hits of the Buzzcocks. I mean, that's a pretty good introduction, right?
It was from my neighbors upstairs. I remember we had this, they were a lesbian couple that lived upstairs, and they bought us Limp Bizkit records as well and things like that. We were into
Yeah.
all that kind of shit too.
Yeah, yeah.
But they fed us some good music. And yeah, stayed with me, man.
What about school? Do you enjoy it?
No, absolutely not. No, no. I was kicked out of every school I ever went to, actually.
Okay. What, for just being disruptive or just like why?
I've always had a difficult time accepting the authority of people in positions of authority,
Yeah,
still to this day.
yeah,
And school was just like, I couldn't see any purpose other than being funny,
yeah,
trying to make people laugh, or at the expense of like anything. I think I was a kind of class clown.
yeah,
And then I would go mad as well, you know.
yeah. I mean, students are gonna fucking love having someone like that in the class, but teachers ain't really about that, are they? They
We're not
don't
about
like
that,
that.
no. No. So yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. And I went to lots of different schools, lots of different types of schools and different systems. I ended up in a kind of almost like a mental institution type school at the last one I went to. And then I was in the metros and I left to do that.
Huh? I mean, because I'm always kind of, I never changed schools. I was always at the same school, and it was always like when you get the new kid that had come to your school, like halfway through, term or whatever, it was just like this new exciting thing that had happened. Like, there was this new kid from like somewhere out the area or from the other school, or like a naughty kid that had come that got thrown out of another school. Like, as much as that was fascinating for me looking at them, like, how was that for you being constantly being like the new kid in like these
Well,
schools?
it was different every time, but it's always difficult. I mean, what I remember once I went to school in Vienna for a bit, and the first school I went to was just a school for kind of immigrant children. And I remember walking in, and I had a Mohican, three Mohicans actually, on like studded jacket. I was a complete postcard punk, and it was. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm being racist. Actually, I'm not, but it was maybe Eastern European kids, quite hard looking kids, maybe Romanian. I don't really know. Anyway, I walked in and they all just fucking looked at me and started laughing. And I remember being quite scared then, sitting down, and then I just went to the toilet and never went back. Um, And that was kind of it was kind of always a bit scary, yeah, as it
I
would be.
mean, to kind of front that look, was you a confident kid?
No, not really. No, I was shy. I was really cripplingly shy until I probably first had a drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd do it.
Yeah.
But like for me, watching you in your certainly in the metros, it looked like
I
confidence
was
was
confident
pouring
back
out of
then.
you. Yeah,
I think I was a mixture of supreme, almost disgusting levels of confidence and
yeah,
then cripplingly self-doubting
yeah,
within.
yeah. Of course, yeah. Well, did you like when you was at school? Like, was music always something that you thought, "Oh, I'm going to do this"?
To be honest, I remember the first time I thought that just when I started going out in South London, going to pubs and things like that when I was maybe 14, and just seeing the state of like bands in pubs and just thinking these guys are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we could do better than this, and it wasn't hard to do better than that. So it kind of went from there. I don't know.
Was there
Uh,
other bands in that scene around that time that you actually thought, "Oh, they're good, and if they can do it, we can do it"?
no, no, not from where we were from. No.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Right. So where was going out in South London and what sort of pubs and venues were you hanging out in then?
It was New Cross those days, and it was
Yeah,
kind of like it was like the end of the like, Libertines. Remember, there was that kind of scene of like guerrilla gigs and all
yeah,
that art brute.
yeah,
Um, it was that kind of the dying embers of that scene.
yeah,
So it would be Hatcham Social Club and
yeah.
places like that.
Was the venue still there in New Cross? Was that still a venue?
Yeah, the venue's still there. I
Is
think
it?
I don't even know what it is nowadays, but it's a
Right.
rough place.
Did that feel exciting as a young kid, them kind of guerrilla gig kind of things happening?
Yeah, it was the first time I felt and get like there was that cut down that kind of barrier between the band
Mm,
and the audience. I remember before that I'd been into kind of like punk, like American kind of Rancid and things like that.
yeah,
And I'd gone to see gigs, and it was always at Brixton Academy, and there was this huge barrier between you and the band. So
yeah,
then I remember seeing Art Brut playing on Camberwell Green to about
yeah,
eight, and that was quite good.
yeah. Love it.
Definitely felt more attainable, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I take it the rancid like love was the Three Mohicans and the leather studded jacket.
Yeah.
All right, so can you tell me for your next track, please, the first record you remember buying from a record shop?
Oh, that ties in actually with the Rancid thing. It's Linoleum by No Effects, No
Yeah.
Effect, and I've gone back to re-listen to this record recently, and I
Hmm.
think it's a really really good album. It's the only album that I've always loved, and that I've never found anyone else that likes,
Yeah.
apart from when I was a kid. But I still listen to it, and people physically kind of recoil at the sound of it.
Mm.
Um,
I think No Effects are pretty fucking cool, and
yeah,
uh,
good
and
songwriters,
yeah, I think they
good
actually
lyrics.
did they knock it on the head last year? I think they actually wound it all up
Really
and
good. I'm
finished
glad.
last
I didn't
year.
know they were
Yeah,
still going.
yeah, they were. But again, that's music before your years. That's kind of my generation. Like that was exciting when I was like 17. Like,
Right, okay, fair enough. I've always been out of sync with the times, I have to say.
yeah, that ain't a bad thing though, right?
No, no, no. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I think it's actually
Yeah.
better.
What's um what's the record shop mean to you now?
Going to a record shop. Well, when I have money, I love to buy records. I mean, there's nothing I really love more, you know.
Mm.
Just going to look through the record shops. There's some great ones around where I live. And I mean, what does it mean to me? I don't really know. No,
Like, I want to ask you that I think it's easy to kind of sort of fall into like old man territory and just go like, yes, it's amazing there's a resurgence of vinyl. And I'll happily bang on that it was better when I was growing up, when I, had X amount of money, I could afford one record a month and I'd go and buy this record and devour the sleeve notes and everything about it and want to know the ins and outs of it. But one thing I'm always interested in with people that are releasing music now is cover artwork, because normally cover artwork for a lot of people now just will appear on a telephone as a little square. And I just wonder, do you still put the same amount of love and attention as if it was going to be a nice 12-inch size piece of vinyl?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And I always, and same with the making of the music, I think of it as a whole piece. I try and make albums, in the old fashioned kind of way, I suppose.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely with the artwork on everything that I've done so far. Although I was never happy with it in the end, but I like, I'm always trying to make records that look like something else. Like I like that Throbbing Gristle thing where they had the 20 jazz funk greats and trying to slip the wrong record into someone's collection. I always quite like the idea.
Yeah, that's fucking wonderful. That is. Okay, I'm going to ask you now to tell me the song that soundtracked your years going clubbing.
Right. Well, question was a bit difficult because I've never been clubbing.
Mm-hmm.
I like clubbing. So
let me add a sort of a bit of an addendum to that, Saul, because of all the guests that I've had on this show over the years, most have said that. And most people's bands were too busy playing gigs and fucking around in rehearsal rooms, and I guess that can you can lend that to I don't know what was on down the pub or what was on at house parties, something that sort of captured that time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I thought about that. Maybe you might say that, and I thought this was kind of like, this is a song that I would probably be listening to after a session about 7 a.m, around the time when I used to live in a pub a lot, and I love country music. And this is quite a sad tune, really, but it's not a clubbing song, but it was it definitely marks my years of heavy drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Carter family. I Never Will Marry. Yeah.
Yeah. What a beautiful record that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did that love of country come from?
That's probably from my mother as well, actually. She loves sad kind of country songs, and my grandma. So probably from the women in my family.
Yeah. So was there records on at home growing up?
Yeah. Well, there was cassettes. Like I said, it was cassettes. It was all about cassettes and mixtapes that people had made. And that was really a thing. We'd have our favorite mixes, Yeah.
I'm going to take you home for this track and ask you to tell me a favorite song from an artist from your home county, please. So.
Oh yeah. Well, these guys supported Insecure Men at our last London show. And I never really see bands that I think are very good. And they were fucking great. And it's called Dead Baby Delivery Service by a band called House Arrest. I think maybe it's their first single. I don't really know that much about them, but it was really exciting seeing them. Yeah.
Mate, I don't think it is their first single. It's their current single. I went and had a little look because I'd not heard of them. And when you sent your tracks over, I listened to House Arrest and it took my fucking head off, man. It is fucking incredible. And had a bit more of an explore there. And
probably know more than me, actually.
Mate, I want to see them live. I'll take it. It's a pretty fucking frantic experience.
Yeah, they were great. Really, really, yeah.
Wonderful. So how do you go about when when you're putting together shows, do you pick support acts? How's it work at the moment for you?
No, I don't. I leave that to whoever's promoting the show. It's funny, actually, the bands that they pick to support me, because I think it's always quite interesting. They always try and pick someone. I guess it's because their House Arrest sound a bit like kind of early. There's some early Fat Whites stuff, but a bit heavier, I think. But that's probably why then. But I'm never really involved in that. No.
Yeah, you lucked out there because, for me, that feels like a really nice fit. If you're going to watch you and you get that first, it's like, this is fucking great.
Yeah, it was great. There was about 10 of them on stage, and one of them was just hitting a beer keg. He looked completely gormless. Great.
I'm all over that. All right, so it's your last track, and I'm going to ask you to tell the listeners of this show a song that you think they may not know that you would like them to hear?
Um, this song's called Anan. I think it's called Anan Water by
Mm.
Nick Jones. And I don't know, it's just endlessly beautiful song that I just always want to hear again. And I don't think he's that well known. He's pretty well known in folk music circles, but outside of that, I don't think he is well known.
Mm. Do you know if he wrote it, Saul?
I don't know, but I
Yeah,
think he did. I think he did. Yeah, because
because
I've never heard any previous version to his.
yeah, I think there's been a few sort of since then. Because when I sort of went to find it, there was all sorts of covers of it. But yeah, it is
Yeah,
a beautiful, beautiful record, mate.
it is a beautiful record, and it's not really something I can explain either. It's just something you
Yeah,
have to do, isn't it?
yeah. How do you stumble across music now?
Sorry?
How do you stumble across new music now?
It's, I don't know. With the kind of rise of the, like doing things online, I have kind of withdrawn from listening to music as much as I used to, and I most like to come across new music by buying records. Actually, I don't even use Spotify anymore. So
Yeah,
that was before then. It would have been that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we do put together a little Spotify playlist to accompany the pod, just so people can go and listen to all the records that we've spoke about today. And obviously, we'll put your music on there as well. Um, we spoke about lots of other people's music, but we haven't spoke about yours yet. So, like, what's happening?
um, I'm about to go and make the next Insecure Men record. Um, I just signed the deal for that with Fat Possum Records, and I'm going to Conk Studios to make it in about 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So that's the next thing that's going on. And then I've also got a record coming out on the 16th of this month, The Coward, with me and Marley Mackey and a guy called John S. Hall, who was in a band called King Missile in the 90s, that
Hmm.
maybe some people might remember. Um,
How did that come about?
well, me and Marley had all these kind of weird phone demos of quite lo-fi exotica music that we make. And like we just thought they were good enough to use on a record. And we we had this book by John S. Hall, which is a negative thought for every day of the year. Quite really funny book. And it's like became a bit of a Bible. We had one copy that everyone was passing around, lending to each other. And then we thought, well, he's not famous, this guy. Maybe we can just write to him and offer him a small amount of money. And we did. And it worked, which was, we're happy about.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, finish at record comes out. What's happening gig wise?
And then I don't know, I'll be doing a tour of the UK and Europe. I mean, to be honest, I've been kind of out of sync with everything actually, especially music. So I've not really been doing much, I have to say.
Okay. And if people want to keep up to speed with all of your creative output, where's the
Mhm.
best place to keep up to speed with your song?
Well, regrettably, I reckon it's probably a Instagram or something like that.
Okay.
I don't have a website or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, if it's all right with you, when we put this episode out, we'll tag you in it so people, if they're not following you already, we'll make it nice and easy for them to go and explore what you're up to.
Sure thing.
So, mate, it's been lovely talking records with you, mate, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate you giving up your time to come on here today, mate. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Stu.
Absolute pleasure. I'm going to press stop. Don't go anywhere.